I'm going to expose how you are being lied to over and over again by people and organisations that you think you can trust. And I'm also going to have a warning about what we've come to expect as normal could all be about to change. And it's got nothing to do with coronavirus. It's going to have real implications for your finances and your life. Plus, we're always going to have some fun as normal with some news you might have missed. So strap yourself in for more common sense in the next hour than most people can handle. Now, we all know that institutions, particularly here in this country, occupy an important place in our society. As such, they're expected to act with integrity and basic decency toward the people that rely on them. Now, broadcast news media once belonged in that category. It was trusted, it was honourable, it was straight up and down the line in reporting the facts. It covered the important stories that we all need to know, and we had confidence in what they were telling us. But slowly, most of them have now dumped hard news in favour of pop culture reporting. But some have sunk into even actually deceiving viewers. They're deceiving you. What they put on their screen is not true. We saw as much earlier this week on the ABC. There was a legitimate story about how the Navy, unwisely in my opinion I have to say, had dancing girls at the launch of their new ship. But it became a propaganda piece when the aired footage suggested that the Governor-General was observing the twerking young women. But that pales into comparison with what's been exposed overseas. The cable news network, you probably know it as CNN, has been exposed. An undercover reporter from Project Veritas has captured video footage of CNN directors boasting of manipulating the news to, and I quote, change the world. Make no mistake, they are deliberately engaging in propaganda to change the way you think about politics, about COVID, coronavirus, climate change, and everything else. They want to scare you into accepting what they want to peddle. Have a listen.
It's fear. Fear really drives numbers. It does, you know. The happiest days in news, people, I would imagine, turn it off and then they go with the family. They don't stay glued to it, you know? Unless there's something that's uniting them, like the moon landing or something like that. Fear is the thing that keeps you tuned in.
And when the news, which can be scary a lot of the time, when it isn't scary enough, they dress it up to make it seem even worse. Now take for a moment the COVID mania that swept the globe. I'm saying that you might as well call it influenza type C because no one dies of the flu anymore. Have you noticed that? It's just the same people die of COVID now, and yet CNN kept a death clock to keep the alarmism on the rise. Have a look.
COVID, gangbusters at ratings, right? Which is why we constantly have the death toll on the side, which I have a major problem with, that we're tallying how many people die every day. Because I've even looked at it and be like, let's make it higher. Like, why isn't it high enough, you know, today? Like, it would make our point better if it was higher. And I'm like, what am I rallying for? That's a problem. Yeah. That we're doing that, you know? Like.
Incredible, isn't it? It's worth pointing out that CNN only ran the death clock on screen while Donald Trump was president. Isn't that a coincidence? It was suddenly removed when Joe Biden was installed into the White House. Which brings me to their other deceptions, and there are many of them. The operatives openly admit the network's main task was actually to bring down Donald Trump, and even detailed their techniques for doing so. Have a look.
When Trump was, I don't know, like his hand was shaking or whatever like that, we brought in like so many medical people to like all tell a story that like it was all speculation, that he was like neurological damage, like that he was losing it, he's unfit to, you know, whatever. We were creating a story there that we didn't know anything about, you know. So that's I think that's propaganda, you know.
But for the fake news purveyors at CNN, damaging a president wasn't enough. They also needed to prop up the flailing, and ailing I should say, Joe Biden, who was mostly calling an early lid on the campaign from his basement, if you recall. This is what they did.
You know, always show shots of him jogging, and that I'm healthy, you know, blah blah blah, and him in aviator shades, and like you paint him as a young geriatric.
Yeah, young geriatric. I thought I'd heard it all. According to CNN insiders, though, there's no such thing as unbiased news. There are simply too many agendas at work within CNN.
There's no such thing as unbiased news. It just doesn't exist. There's too many agendas.
And they admit that they tell the reporters, I should say, tell their interviewees what to say, and the only people who actually get put on air at CNN are those with a proven track record of, and I quote, taking the bait.
There's like an art to manipulation. I think some people have figured it out inherently.
Now, according to CNN, there is an art to manipulating the public. Think about that for a moment. That means there is an art to manipulating you, because CNN want to change the world and change your view to fit their image of what you should be thinking. Here's what they did to support BLM, despite the facts.
I was trying to do some research on like the Asian hate, like the people are getting attacked on. A bunch of black men that have been attacking Asian. So I'm like, what are you doing? Like we're trying to like help like with the BLM and like.
Did you get that? CNN were actively looking to blame white people for attacking Asians in America, but their research only showed it was black people launching the attacks. And what did they do? Well, it meant the story wasn't worth airing because it would have damaged the BLM narrative that they've been peddling for months. This apparently is the, and I quote, most trusted name in news. What a joke. What a disgusting, racist, fake news service joke. But you don't have to take my word for it. These are the claims of a CNN employee who said all the quiet bits that we've been thinking far too loudly. Now, my own experience is that sections of the Australian media operate in a very similar fashion. As I said earlier, their ABC, because it's not ours, let me tell you, has been busted doctoring footage about a ship launch. But that's just this week. How many deceptive claims on Four Corners or Q&A or Radio National have we actually had to endure over the years? And there's more. There's so much more I could point out, but I'm sure you get the picture. It's just that on CNN, the ABC and others, you aren't actually getting the news anymore. But that's why you're here with us on Sky. And I, for one, am grateful that you are.